The year is 2011. Brian and I are time traveling movie producers who have just seen Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, finishing out our sojourn into the magical world of Harry Potter for now. And we're here to fix it before it hits theaters. Cue that intro. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Mirror Movie Universe. I'm joined once again by my good friend Brian. How are you doing today, sir?
Doing well. How are you doing, Dan?
Doing good. I do have a bit of a conundrum for you to start things
Yeah,
off, a little brain tease.
fire away.
What is your opinion on Snape? We're at the last film now. He's redeemed himself, or has he? Is he good or is he evil? Where does he fall for you?
We're about to find out. But spoiler alert: Snape is good. Snape
Really?
Snape is broken and deeply flawed, but a fundamentally good character. Yeah. In one
I
sense, he's like a hero. He is a kind of heroic character.
I take the opposite view. I believe that he
Really?
is a very bad person who was coerced into doing some good because he had some regret. And I think that even Harry naming his own kid after Snape shows more about Harry forgiving this terrible man than it does about Snape himself. But
Let's
I
get
don't
into
know.
it. All right. So let's start with a recap before because we got to digest Snape. Snape is complicated. There's a lot going on there. But we haven't yet. And where we pick up in the story, Voldemort now has the Elder Wand. He's everything he wanted to be. He has conquered the magical world. He has the most powerful wand in the world. As far as he is concerned, he has conquered death. And his last enemy, his last sort of obstacle to fully get everything he has ever desired, if that's what it is that he wants, is to kill Harry.
Yes.
Harry is the last stop. So he's now got it all. We pick up with Harry at Ron's brother's house. So he gets some very important information. First, when he's at Ron's brother's house on the beach, I don't remember where it was. But on the beach here, he's able to talk to the goblin, and the
Mhm.
goblin was able to tell him like the sword that is in Bellatrix Lestrange's vault is the fake one,
Yes.
but Bellatrix believes that it's real. They have the real one, so the real sword of Gryffindor is with Harry now. They also get from Ollivander, who of course is the wand maker. They realize that this Elder Wand does exist, that Voldemort's got it, and that there's nothing they can do to now fight against this wand. So this is just the reality. Now they have all the information to move forward. They decide Bellatrix was terrified, and they're going to break into Gringotts. Do you remember the name of the goblin? Like right
I
off the
want
top
to
of my head,
say grip hook.
Grip Hook, thank you. So, Grip Hook is there, and they make a deal with him. They say, "We'll give you the sword if you help us break into Gringotts." So they hatch this plan. Hermione has to become Bellatrix. Harry's going to be under the invisibility cloak, and Ron is going to sort of disguise himself, and they're going to break in. Um, the plan works. They get into Bellatrix Strange's as vault, and they do find another Horcrux, the cup. Who we if you've read the books, you realize the cup is actually it previously belonged to Helga Hufflepuff.
Mhm.
But that's irrelevant. The point is, it's a Horcrux. It's a cup. They have to get out. They get betrayed by Griphook, but they manage to escape on the top of a dragon. And in that, Harry has this vision as they're escaping on the dragon, as they're sort of jumping off the dragon. Harry has this vision that there's another Horcrux, and it's at Hogwarts.
Mhm.
That's the most important thing. So now, they decide, you know what, we're not going to make a plan. We're just going to go there. We're gonna pull the trigger and figure it out from there. So they disapparate into Hogsmeade. Some alarm goes off. Voldemort realizes Harry has been spotted. Harry gets spotted, but they get saved by Albus Dumbledore's brother, who has this secret way into Hogwarts. So Albus Aberforth, there we go. Aberforth. Dumbledore saves him, and he's sort of given up on the cause, but hasn't really. And he's the one that we realize saved Harry out of the basement of the Malfoy Manor, in movie one or part one. So we realize that he's actually been sort of working things behind the scenes, so he hasn't given up, and he sort of seems like it. But he breaks them in along with Shoot. Help me out, Dan. Come on.
Luna?
He
Is
helps
that
him
her
through the
name?
tunnel. What?
Neville. Neville comes
Neville.
through the
Neville
tunnel and
Longbottom. Yes,
he's
and
like,
Neville
yeah,
meets them.
they've been hiding in the room of requirement. Yeah.
Exactly. So this tunnel, they need a tunnel out of Hogwarts. The Room of Requirement provides this new tunnel and provides safe patches in Hogsmeade. So they go in. They realize that it might be Rowena Ravenclaw's last diadem, like a crown. Um, and they're gonna now like break into Rowena Ravenclaw's um, house room and see if they can find it. In the process, Harry goes with all the other students and they meet in this large room. And Snape, trying to get to Harry, knows he's been seen and says, "If anybody's here to help Harry, you've gotta, release him now. Give him to me." And we'll find out why Snape wants him so badly in a minute. But Snape right now is just trying to catch Harry. Everybody else, through their little radios, they say, Harry's been seen, Harry's at Hogwarts, and now the entire Wizarding world, everybody that's good, that's on Harry's side, all meets there. And they get this sense it's all coming to a climax.
Yeah.
All the good wizards are now here to help Harry. All the evil wizards are now here to get Harry. And we're hitting the climax. Whatever happens this night, it's happening right now. To save Harry in this moment, Professor McGonagall attacks Snape. They duel back and forth, and Snape flees. So now McGonagall's taken over Hogwarts, and they now put all these wizarding protections. And I won't editorialize because we'll get into what I like so much about this, but they put all these wizarding protections over the castle, and the final battle is now ensuing. But the good wizards are going to give Harry as much time as he needs to do whatever it is that he needs to do. He won't tell them he's searching for Horcruxes yet. And he goes and does it. We'll try to fast forward because so much happens here in the castle. Ron and Hermione go and destroy the cup because they get a basilisk fang. Harry goes and finds the diadem of Rowena Ravenclaw. He finds it in the Room of Requirement also, but the room where you hide things. He has a battle with Draco. They're able to destroy it, and they have one final scene. And they realize the last Horcrux left is the snake. So now they're all on a mission to find the snake. In the meantime, all the defenses now crumble. And it's not every man for himself. It's still good versus evil, but there's a massive battle now going on. People are dying, and everyone is sort of scattered. But they stay laser focused. They're going down. They're going to try to find the snake, kill the snake, and now they've got Voldemort. When they go find Voldemort down by the docks, Voldemort's with Snape. Voldemort thinks, for whatever reason, the Elder Wand is not working for him. So he thinks it's because Snape killed Dumbledore. Dumbledore had it before. Snape killed Dumbledore. He kills Snape, and now he's got the wand. So they overhear Snape dying by the hand of Voldemort. And then Voldemort disapparates. They go in, and Snape has a few tears that he gives to Harry before he dies. And you get this sort of insight into what's really going on in the interior life of Snape. He looks back and his final words are, "You have your mother's eyes." So that should tee us off. Like, okay, something else is going on here. Snape's last words aren't even advice. They're not tips. They're not anger or rage or frustration. He notices that Harry looks like his mother. They take the tears. They go back in. They assess. They realize that one of Ron's brothers died. If I remember right, it's George. Fred is the one who got his ears cut off. If I could be mixing this up. But
Someone will correct you if you're wrong. So
okay, yeah, we'll find out in the comments. But yeah. So, anyways, one of Ron's brothers dies. They realize that both Remus and Tonks have died in the battle. Lavender Brown from movie 6 also dies. So they're realizing, they've got friends, they've got family that have all gone down. And they go back and they look into the Poncile, and you finally get this reveal of like what's really going on with Snape and what has been going on. Again, I'm going to try to go lightning fast because a lot happens here. Snape was, I know, and I really am. I feel like I'm skipping over stuff as I'm doing.
You're doing a great job. Great job.
So they find out Snape was in love with Harry's mother from the very beginning. When Snape sided with the dark side in the first Wizarding battle when Voldemort was up, um, Voldemort found out that Harry, or one child born at the end of July, would be the one who overtakes him or one who overpowers him. So he thinks it's Lily's son, that is Harry. And Snape, because he's in love with Lily, says, please don't. And he switches sides. So Snape switches from the side of Voldemort to the side of Dumbledore. And Dumbledore, finding this out, sends Lily and Harry's father into hiding. They, of course, get betrayed, which we already know. And Snape is now devastated. But Snape, still being in love with Lily, always being in love with Lily, is now sort of supporting Harry and protecting him behind the scenes. But through this flashback, you have realized that it's been pieced together sort of throughout the story that he also has this deep hatred, and in one sense, an animosity and envy. And envy maybe is the best word for it, of Harry's father.
Hmm.
That he both hates Harry's father and loves Harry's mother, and that's how he feels about Harry. He's been equally as ambivalent and torn about Harry himself. So, anyways, Harry realizes this, but most importantly, Dumbledore gave Snape this important piece. Harry is the last Horcrux. That he has to sacrifice himself. He has been raising him all along, knowing he has to sacrifice himself here at the end. So, Harry realizes this, says a very tearful goodbye, and goes into the Forbidden Forest to go find Voldemort and sacrifice himself for the sake of everyone else. When he goes there, he finds the Resurrection Stone. That brings back for a brief moment Harry's parents, Remus, Sirius. Is it just those four?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and he's able to say goodbye. He's able to sort of like rest or come to grips, I should say, with the fact that he's gonna die. They give him some courage. They literally encourage him, and he goes off. Voldemort kills him. They have this flash moment to kind of Hemet. I almost said heaven. It's more like limbo. It's a kind of limbo
Yeah.
area where Dumbledore shows up. Dumbledore says you can move on, you can sort of die and stay dead, or you can go back into the world. But nonetheless, the Horcrux that was in you is now dead. Harry chooses to go back. One last battle ensues. In the middle of this battle, um, Neville gets the sword of Gryffindor, slices off the head of the snake. Harry has a last battle with
Voldemort.
Voldemort and wins. Harry wins. He's saved the whole magical world, and they live happily ever after. That's the story of the end.
Yeah.
How'd I
And then there's a little epilogue with them sending their kids to Hogwarts to set up a play that some people have different opinions on. But yeah, that's the movie in a nutshell. Well done. Well
Thank
done,
you.
Brian. I'm going to give you a chance to catch your breath
Yeah.
and talk about what is fantastic about this movie. So, I think that they do a really, really great job of splitting the story here between part one and part two. It's a great opening set piece. The whole heist, if you will, into Gringotts and everything. The dragon escape is fantastic, and then after that, everything builds and builds and builds and builds to that final battle. Really, really well done. I think that it's incredibly satisfying to see all of the characters that we know and love, even if they're there only for, a little short time, to have something to do. And this is one of the things that the book does so much, or the movie does so much better than the book, is it gives little moments to people that aren't in the book,
Mhm.
right? So you get to see Seamus blow up the bridge, and Neville has his heroic moment on the bridge. You get to see McGonagall going with Mrs. Weasley,
Mhm.
and she's doing the enchanting on the statues, the knights, and she gives this little like, "Oh, I've always wanted to do that," and it's just such a cute little moment.
Yeah.
But you don't get that in the books, because in the books it's all about what Harry's doing. So really, really great to see all of those little character beats. If anything, I wish we could have a little bit more of that, but that doesn't take away from what we're given. In every one of our videos up until this point, have called out an actor or actress, both an adult and a kid, who have done a really, really great job. And if you've been keeping score, you've noticed some big names missing. So now it's time to heap tons of praise on them. And I'm going to talk about three. Maggie
Okay.
Smith as McGonagall
We haven't
is,
talked about Maggie Smith and McGonagall.
I mean, I haven't. brought her
Okay.
up before, but she's fantastic, and I love how protective she is of Harry. She gets to be so powerful, she gets to be so whimsical, and with these little moments here, and I absolutely love it. She's been this way throughout. She's strict and stern, but also incredibly kind and loving to Harry, and would die for him. 100% would die for him, and shows that when she stands up to Snape. You
You know
know,
that J.K. Rowling wrote McGonagall with Maggie Smith in mind?
really.
Like she specifically requested Maggie Smith to play her because that's who she had in mind when writing McGonagall.
I love that because it is
Yeah.
such a perfect
Oh,
casting
she's
for that.
excellent.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Also, Alan Rickman as Snape, which I know that we're going to get into a little bit more, but his portrayal of that character is really nuanced. And he made choices along the way where he was cold and calculating, but also if you look back at some of the stuff, he does these little like glances away and things that let you know that he's more than meets the eye. And all of
Mhm.
that, of course, comes to a head here, and he has this incredibly tearful goodbye, and it shows this remorseful side to him. Maybe if anything, he gets redemption in that moment, and he finally gets, you know, that character gets to become good.
Yeah.
I disagree with you if he was good all along, but that's another debate. And then I want to give a shout out to Matthew Lewis as Neville, who has such a character transformation. Goes
Yes.
from being this incredibly scared, whiny kid, how's this guy in Gryffindor, to literally pulling the sword of Gryffindor out of the hat, which only a true Gryffindor can wield, in this incredibly heroic moment. He also stands up to Voldemort. He steps forward when Voldemort's like, all right, bow before me, whatever, we're done. I killed Harry. And he's like, no, it doesn't matter that Harry's dead. We'll never stop fighting. We'll always fight. And that's so cool because he is the character of Neville, could have been the chosen one.
Oh,
Born at the end of July or whatever, like could have been the chosen one. Um,
we'll get into my
and
thoughts on that if we when we do our recap. Our
oh, I'm
recap of the Harry
excited.
Potter series, I have thoughts.
Oh, good. So yeah, so stay tuned for that. But his portrayal is really good. To go from being that little whiny kind of scared kid to this incredibly heroic, standing up to the Dark Lord and everything. I know that some people quibble with how it ends, because it is a little different than the book and this duel with Voldemort and everything. I
Yeah.
think if anything, that's more cinematic. It doesn't bother me at all that they've changed up some of those things. I love the way that that plays out because in the book it's a very short thing, and in the movie they're not dragging it out. They're giving it its due. They're giving it its
Yeah.
grandiose moment to finally feel that conclusion. So really well done all around. I can't say enough good about it. What
Yeah.
about you, Brian? What do you love about part two?
I mean, like this is it's the perfect climax. I mean, there's a couple of stories in like all of cinema history that I really think nail the landing, and this nails the landing.
Yeah,
It's almost impossible for me to say everything that I love about this because it's so good. Um, I'll say they're building tension when the final battle begins and all the good wizards show up and they're all behind Harry. That you sort of know this is it. Whatever world that they knew beforehand, this is going if they lose tonight, they lose it all.
yeah.
And the weight of that moment is so perfectly captured, especially when they like, there's this moment where they're like, we can't hold off Voldemort forever. And McGonagall's like, oh, well, that's not, you might as well use his name. We can't keep you know who off forever. And they're like, you might as well use his name. His name is Voldemort. And he's going to kill you either way. And she's
Hmm.
like, something effective, like, that doesn't mean we can't delay him. Um, so this notion, like we're gonna do everything we can, and we'll probably all die tonight, but we're gonna go out fighting. We're gonna do whatever we have to do to help Harry, and whatever Harry's doing, everybody's in the dark as to why Harry's even back.
Yeah.
But they all know which side they're on. They all um rally around this figurehead that is Harry, and the tension there is so well done. It still gives me goosebumps when I watch it. To like even to this moment, like I love that scene, and it's so powerful. There's a moment where Harry and Luna sort of stop and they watch the defenses come down, and you realize like we're all in here. We're sitting ducks, but we're all in on whatever we have to do. It's so good. Um, let's see. I wrote down a couple other things. I also so I'll give a shout out to a couple of really like powerful actors and actresses. I think Molly Weasley does fantastic.
Yeah.
She is the one that ultimately kills Bellatrix Lestrange. But she's the one that has everything to lose here. She is the one that has avoided this moment for 6 movies. Like she's backed Harry, she supported him and loved him like a son, but she has always avoided all of her eggs being in one basket. And now she's got all of her children, her husband, all of her friends, and Harry all in the castle.
Yeah.
Again, if this goes badly, she will lose everything she loves. And that's so powerful, that moment where she's standing next to McGonagall, because you sort of realize this is it. She has to fight to the death. There is nothing outside this castle that she cares about. It's all right here. And it's so powerful, and she does such a great job just capturing that moment. I really, really love that. I also, that big reveal of Harry being a Horcrux. I think David Yates does such a good job of letting that of planting seeds throughout the story. He can hear them.
Hmm.
Uh, there's the ringing, that sort of like high pitched sound when he's around the Horcrux. Harry can sense them, but it's never like me. I watched the movies first, and it was never like a foregone conclusion. I don't even think I realized it as a viewer. Oh, Harry's a Horcrux. Of course he is. Like I didn't know that. So when you finally realize like Harry's last Horcrux, that was a reveal to me. That was a big moment. And David Yates never overplays his hand here. He gives you like little seeds. He tips his hat just slightly, but he never overplays that hand. And I really, really love that. I think that climax is so good with Harry and Voldemort. Like there they are, the two of them. They're dueling, and even though like chronologically, like it sort of happens in this way in the books, but Neville killing the snake and Harry realizing, seeing right, Harry's not a Horcrux anymore, so he can't hear it, but he can see it in Voldemort's eyes. The fear enters, and
Yeah.
he even smiles. And then they all go back for one last thing, but Harry knows he's done. And it's just him, and it's just Harry. Like Harry can die, but so can Voldemort. And Harry knows, like, I got this. Like he's my guy now. And there's that little like hint of a smile in his eyes that I just think is so good. And then like you said, you already mentioned Neville, but I love that like his fighting spirit. Like it wasn't like Neville loved Harry, and they all rally around Harry, and certainly Neville had risked his life for Harry earlier that movie. But it was never just Harry. Neville always understood this is a story. This is what's at stake here is bigger than just Harry.
Right.
That we're in it against evil itself, and he's there to fight it. And they do that just really well in this like somewhat over dramatic speech. A monologue about how we're still fighting and Harry fought for us and blah blah blah. But I just think there's such a powerful writing in what Harry or not Harry what Neville actually does. Um, and I think that's it. I think those are the things that I really loved. If I mean, again, I just loved everything, but
No, I agree with you 100%. It's a great conclusion. And I think David Yates does a great job not only of portraying him with the Horcruxes, but he also taps into some kind of stereotypes in cinema without overplaying them to really give you a sense of what's happening. So we don't spend a lot of time at Hogwarts before the battle commences, but what little time we do, we see how draconian it is by
yeah,
having all the students march in single file and be silent and all of that. Not in single file in ranks, but like those little twists are such a great way to show what's happening just by tapping into other, like it makes me think of like The Wall by Pink Floyd. I'm like, oh, it's like that, it's just another brick in the wall, and it's a great way to show like what's happening without spending a lot of time on it. So
yeah, yeah.
really good, as much
But
as we like it, and we do.
we gotta fix it.
There is so I'm a little bit torn here, to be honest with you. Um and there's two different ways I can go. So when I first started this podcast like 2 years ago with my brother, I didn't want to get too nitpicky with films, and I didn't want to absolutely destroy them. I wanted to make a small change like a producer would. So my initial thought here might be outside the realm of that boundary. Okay, so what I would propose is giving me more of what I would like to call the Silver Trio: Neville, Ginny, and Luna at Hogwarts, building up to Harry and Hermione and Ron being there. You'll notice in part one, we see like they sort of stand up to I think it's the teacher or somebody on the train, and then we don't really see them until the final battle. And in the book, it makes sense because everything's through Harry's eyes, but here you can go back and forth easily in the film, and it makes sense. And you hear like some really cool stuff that's happening at Hogwarts, but I would love to see it. I would love to see them try to steal the Sword of Gryffindor. I would love to see them try to stand up to Snape. I would love to see McGonagall try to navigate being
Mhm.
there and keeping her kids safe, but also knowing that Snape is serving Voldemort and everything. I would love to see that, and I think it would help show the passage of time too, because up until now they're kind of just off doing their camping thing, and so by cutting back and forth, you can make a lot of differences. It's the shortest runtime of the film, so you certainly have some room for it.
It's like 2 hours even, isn't there? Like 159. It's something
Yeah,
super.
it's the shortest Harry Potter film. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you definitely have 2 hours 10 minutes. So
Two
you
hours.
definitely have some wiggle room to add in additional scenes. It doesn't have to be a lot. You can give me 5-10 minutes, and I'd be happy. But is it outside the scope of the
Haha.
parameters I've put on here, Brian? I have a backup if you say yes.
So no, so what I think makes it lands well is that you're not critiquing the larger story, you're critiquing this movie.
Hmm.
You want this movie to have these things. Like I like the Silver Trio. Honestly, I've never even thought about them before. But they are the sort of like ringleaders of Dumbledore's army still at Hogwarts.
Yeah,
So that is cool. And they do like, have shenanigans there. And it would have been cool to see. I get why they did it because the big reveal of Neville, had they had some like scenes of what's going on at Hogwarts, the reveal of Neville in the picture would not have landed quite the same. It would have
true.
been like, oh, that's Neville. I forgot about him. Right? Because we've spent so much time with just Harry and Hermione and then Ron. Like the three of them, and like David Yates stays laser focused on them.
Yeah.
Um, so like that, I think that it would have been lost a little bit, but I think that counts. But if we got time, give me your second one. You can do two. You get two.
Well, my second one is easier. It's just every deleted scene, put it back in this movie. I don't
Yeah.
understand why you deleted it. It's the shortest runtime. It explains so much. So Remus and Tonks, you don't find out about their son until after they're dead, which is weird. So a deleted scene fixes that. There's a deleted scene with Luna at the beginning where she says she's going back to Hogwarts.
Uh-huh.
Harry
Yeah.
says, "You know it's not the same," and she looks him dead in the eye, and she's like, "Neither am I." Oh
Yeah,
my
I love that.
gosh, so powerful! Why
It
did you
doesn't
cut
make
that?
any sense that yeah, like that is it's like a 30-second scene. Like keep that. It drives home who Luna is. Yeah.
Yes. And then there's another one at the end where Draco tosses Harry his wand and runs to their side. It's like literally 3 seconds, but it does so much for that character. And so, like, I don't understand why these things were cut. It makes no sense. I would even argue, give me a flashback at some point of Harry reminiscing about saying goodbye to the Dursleys. Since I'm
Uh-huh.
only looking at part two, and that was technically cut from part one, give me that here. Like, you have room and time to play, and cutting those only saves you a couple minutes. It doesn't hurt the pacing at all. I don't understand it. So that's my sort of, if you don't give me like more with the Silver Trio, if we can't afford reshoots, where we
Yeah.
bring back a couple actors, and if like the sets have all been torn down and stuff, fine. Just put these deleted scenes back in. Like, why did you take them out? That's where I'm at.
Okay. So I really like all those. Remind me, there's also I don't remember if it was a deleted scene where oh, who's the Dursley kid? Um
Dudley.
Dudley. Thank you,
Yeah.
Dudley. Dudley comes over and he shakes Harry's hand.
Yeah, that's a
Like right,
deleted
so
scene.
it's
Yep.
yeah, like that's just a really good moment where like you know what, I really don't hate you. And in the book, they play it up a little bit more, where Dudley
Mhm.
even says like I don't think you're a waste of space, and
Yeah.
Harry doesn't realize it, but Dudley actually had left like a cup of tea on the ground for him,
Yeah.
and Harry thought like oh Dudley's like playing a prank on me, but no, Dudley's actually trying to be thoughtful in his own you
His
know
own Dudley way. Yeah.
yeah his own little caveman way. So yeah, so that I agree that would have been really cool. So mine for this movie are somewhat like they're minor.
Hmm.
Um, I'll just throw right off the top. I did not like the post credit scene, or I didn't like the 19 years later. I think they all look
Really?
stupid. Yeah, I actually just don't. I mean, yeah, but I also don't like how they did their makeup. I think they make Ron look like a sort of fat old British guy. Like I don't.
Well,
And
I mean,
part in his hair. I didn't like it. I actually found it very distracting. And
okay.
you ended the movie right there on them at the bridge. I'd have been like, okay, great. I did not need the 19 years later. Even though it gives us some insight into like how Harry interprets the whole moment. Again, that he has what is it, Albus Severus? Um,
Albus Severus Potter. Yeah.
yeah, like, so he names him after two former Hogwarts headmasters. That he recognizes Snape as a legitimate headmaster. That he's the bravest man he ever knew. So it does give it like an interior reflection of who Harry is, and that's important. But um, I didn't like it. But that's not my fix.
Okay.
So I have a couple of I'll do a couple of minor ones rather than like one big fix. Because we're all taking liberties today. Um, so one is I really wanted a more profound parting moment when Harry goes to the Forbidden Forest.
Okay.
So right there, they've spent a movie and a half or more, again, staying laser focused on Harry, Hermione, and Ron. This is so profound. They've run this journey together. They've been seeking the Horcruxes all by themselves, and they realize that the only way that they can win is that Harry has to die. Harry doesn't even like shake Ron's hand. Ron just sort of like nods at him. And Hermione hugs him. Um, but I wanted that moment to land a little bit harder.
Yeah.
This is the breakup of the band. This is their friendship is now in all of their minds coming to its full course. That Harry has to die, that Harry has always had to die, that Hermione's been aware of it. Um, and Ron, that deeply loyal something of an oath, um, will never have his friend anymore. Like his friend's gone. And this the band is breaking up, and I wanted that to land a little heavier than it did. Um, and they focus. And I get David Yates stays focused on just Harry, and Harry is focused on death. He's not focused on like it's parting with his friends. He's focused on like here I have to face my own demise. But I wanted that moment to be a little bit heavier. Um, I would have liked for them to show how did Dumbledore get the Resurrection Stone. Like that, I thought was a little bit
Oh,
lacking. It just sort of shows up.
yeah. Yeah.
Like there it is, but like where did Dumbledore get that from? How did it
I
get
don't even think
inside
that's
this?
explained in the book, is it?
I don't think so. I was trying to rack my brain about it too, and
Yeah.
I don't remember. Um, like so that's another mystery. And then this is well, I so two more. So one, just like you said, I would have really liked to see like Remus and Tonks with their baby.
Yeah.
That would have, I think, even if it was just a 30-second scene of like, Tonks leaving it with her mother. Her father actually died. We don't, I mean, in the books they show this, but her father dies in hiding. But I think she left the baby with the mother, and she goes and fights in the Battle of Hogwarts. Um, but that would have, I think, landed a little more that when you see the two of them together, they know that like they orphaned their child, much like Harry, right? And Harry even like quasi raises that child because he sees himself so much in this. Like my own parents died in the first battle. Like
Right.
I'm gonna raise you because I was orphaned in it, you were orphaned in it. So there's like a parallel there. But to see the baby would have landed a much harder than the one throwaway line where Harry's like, "And Remus and your son."
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, the audience is like, "He has a son."
Right.
Like,
Right. It's totally out of left field. If you don't read the books, you're like, wait, what?
yeah, exactly. And you also like, well, who cares? It
Yeah.
doesn't emotionally, it doesn't do anything. And then finally, I know these are all like small fixes. I would have liked to see some good Slytherin students.
Hmm.
Uh, right?
So
So there's
breaking
all
with the book there because none of them stay in the
I
book.
know, but they're all cast out. Like they're all they don't get the choice to side with Harry. And yes, like bad wizards come out of Slytherin, but not all Slytherins are bad. And just because you're like sorted into this house, and Harry makes this point in the post-credit scene, like then you're a good wizard in Slytherin. Like there are good Slytherins, and I would have liked to see some out there in the fight. That this isn't because otherwise you sort of get the sense that it's like three houses versus the evil wizarding.
Yeah.
Like rather than the entire Wizarding World against the evil Wizarding World. I would have liked to see some good Slytherins out there in the fight. That would have, I think, like gone a long way to drive that point home. But I also think it's like throughout. Well, I can get into this later. So like Slytherins are always caricatures rather than characters. They're all just like evil because they're Slytherin.
I think that
Um,
Slughorn is the only one who really has more going on there. Yeah.
Exactly. And we find out Snape, but that's way later. But like Slytherin qua Slytherin, I would have just liked to see some kids who aren't evil in that same battle. So
Yeah.
those are like a bunch of minor fixes that would have, I think, fleshed out the story a little more.
I
Yeah.
agree with all of them, and I love what you're doing with it. You know, when we have something so well done, it's hard to come up with something major. It's much easier to
Exactly.
just be like, I want this little thing and this little thing and this little thing and all of those things together. And we're in agreement. I mean, if you do the deleted scenes, you get, you know, Ramus and Tonks, you get even Draco kind of having a moment to come back, even though it's incredibly short, and show a good Slytherin fighting. So
Yeah.
I agree with you 100% on all of those. I think that it makes a ton of sense to do it that way. Love it.
Yeah. So, yeah, I really, really love yours. I think all of them could be really profound. Add in those extra scenes. Give us that character development, especially the Luna moment. I love that Luna moment.
Yeah, me
And
too.
Luna herself is this like an eccentric philosopher by disposition. So it is like she's like, yes, it's not the same, but she's like keenly aware. Neither am I. Like
Yeah,
I've been through a lot, and I can go back and like suffer the torture. It's just yeah, it's so good. So
yeah.
um, give him back.
Well, what do you think, audience? Do you think that we need to put in those deleted scenes? Were you as surprised about Ramus and Tonks, or do you not care about that? Do you want to see some good Slytherins fighting in that battle? Do you want to see more of the Silver Trio? If you do, there's a fantastic Harry Potter fanfic called A Call to Arms that shows them fighting throughout that year. It's really well written, so you can look that up. But if you do want to see that, or you want to see something else, maybe you disagree with us and you hate the final showdown between Harry and Voldy, and you want it to be, you know, Harry with the invisibility cloak just doing stuff like it is in the book. Whatever it is that you want to do, please sound off in the comments. Like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you. Thank you, Brian, for being here, and thank you for spending your time with us. We always
Anytime.
appreciate you taking your time out with us.
My
Um,
pleasure. It's been a blast.
it has been. And stay tuned because we're going to do another video on Harry Potter at large. Some
Mhm.
outstanding things that we didn't get to talk about. And as always, God loves you.
And so do we.
First time he's got that right. All right. Thanks, everybody.